Ahead on Valley View News, California college students rejoice. The CSU system won't raise tuition rates. We have the details and reaction. Plus, are you prepared for the big one? With natural disasters, it's not if, but when. How you can better prepare yourself and your family. And cancer? Most of us know someone with the deadly disease. Doctors give insights into researching your cancer healthcare.
Hello, and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Cameron Parrish.
And I'm Corinne Hafuda.
There's some much-needed relief for California's college students. After many months of debate, the California State University system will not raise tuition at its 23 campuses for the 2018 to 2019 school year.
That's really interesting. Valley View News reporter Tomas Rodriguez is live with the latest and reactions from some CSUN students.
CSU Chancellor Timothy White backed down a long-planned proposal to raise CSU tuition by $228. This tuition jump would have affected Cal State Northridge and 22 other Cal State campuses. But just last year, students got hit with a tuition increase. White and the CSU Board of Trustees voted a 5% increase for the 2017 to 2018 school year. That was the first increase since 2011. Right now, students pay $5,742. That's an increase of $270 from $5,472. Last November, the board wanted an overall increase of $263 million for the upcoming year. That was 3 times more than the $92.1 million Governor Jerry Brown gave, leaving a $171 million gap. The tuition hike was supposed to be voted on in May before Chancellor White dropped his plan. He says that, quote, there will be serious adverse consequences if state funding falls short of meeting our university needs, end quote. Some CSUN students voiced their concerns about the decision.
It would have been a big burden. Like, I'm international, so I pay out of state, and I get support from my parents, but it's still pretty high, and I live on housing, so that's another burden to think about. And even if I do have a part-time job, it only alleviates the problem somewhat, so I'm thankful that there isn't any.
I don't think raising the tuition is necessarily bad as long as it goes directly for your education. You get a lot of schools, such as this one in particular that I'm in right now, CSUN, sometimes they put the money into things that are not really for education, just, building more establishments, and yeah, that seems fine at first, but it's just really to make the campus look visually pleasing.
On the other hand, UCs are considering a nearly 3% tuition hike, which also includes a tuition increase last year. Live in Northridge, I'm Thomas Rodriguez for Valley View News.
A 30-year-old woman is recovering from injuries after being stabbed in the neck near CSUN. The victim's boyfriend was taken into custody for alleged attempted murder. It happened early Monday morning at the White Ridge apartment complex off Lassen Street. LAPD says the incident stemmed from a domestic dispute. CSUN campus police responded first to the stabbing. Authorities say the stabbing didn't happen on campus, and the victim wasn't a student or an employee at the university.
A 3.9 magnitude quake hit the area near Coachella Music Festival. It happened around 5:45 p.m. last weekend. The U.S. Geological Survey says it was centered inside Joshua Tree National Park. There were no reports of damages or injuries.
During natural disasters like earthquakes and wildfires, people are being urged to stay prepared. Valley View News reporter Andrena Serrano spoke to first responders about safety tips and preparation.
In 2017, 1.3 million acres of land burned in the California wildfires. AccuWeather reported the fires cost the U.S. $85 billion in fire suppression and damages.
We live in Southern California, for example. There's going to be an earthquake, there's going to be wildfires. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Captain Oatman stressed the worst accidents happen after the initial disaster because people panic. He says it's important to educate yourself on the warnings in your areas and take the necessary precautions.
Having an evacuation kit available, so when the evacuation order comes, you know where you're going, what you're taking with you, how long it's going to take you to get there. You have a family plan in case you're all in different places, how you're going to get together.
Strong winds can blow embers miles away, which causes the fire to spread quickly. To protect your homes, firefighters recommend watering your plants regularly, leaving 100 feet of defensible space, and routinely cleaning out dead brush from your yard.
When the news is saying we're in a red flag warning, maybe bring those plastic trash cans that are normally on the side of your house, bring them into your garage, plastic patio furniture, stuff like that. If you have wood piles up next to your home, you might want to move that stuff out of the way.
For more information on what to do to protect your home in a crisis, go to vcreadysetgo.org. In Ventura County, I'm Andrea Serrano for Valley View News.
9 people are dead and 16 are injured after a van plowed through a busy street near downtown Toronto. This happened Monday afternoon. The driver of the van was taken into custody alive after reportedly driving at a high speed on the sidewalk for up to a mile. A law enforcement source told CNN the attack appears to be deliberate. This happened near the intersection of Yonge Street and Finch Avenue. Yonge Street is a main thoroughfare in Toronto. Subway service was suspended in the area after the incident. Toronto Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said his heart goes out to anyone who was affected.
The Waffle House shooting suspect was arrested.
As they're walking through the woods, one of our detectives, Kyle Williams, noticed a suspect in front of him. As he was walking forward, the suspect turned around, and Detective Williams saw his face and realized that is the suspect we were looking for.
Travis Ranking was captured in a wooded area behind an apartment complex Monday. He allegedly opened fire inside a Waffle House restaurant, killing 4 people. Ranking owned at least 4 firearms. The weapons were taken away from him by authorities after he tried to enter the White House to talk to President Trump. Law enforcement left the guns in possession of his father, and then his father gave the guns back to Ranking, including the one used in last Sunday's rampage. So far, the motive in the shooting is unknown.
7 students were arrested after a schoolyard fight in Bakersfield. The fight caught on video at East Bakersfield High School shows a student on the ground being kicked and punched by several students. A few students stood around and laughed and encouraged the fight. The Kern County School District office says they're investigating the situation and plan to pursue disciplinary actions.
Former First Lady Barbara Bush was laid to rest last week. Friends and family gathered in Houston to celebrate Barbara's life. Her family, including her husband, former President George H.W. Bush, and her son, former President George W. Bush, were all present. First Lady Melania Trump sat next to the Obamas and the Clintons. Many speakers, like Jeb Bush, Barbara's son, spoke fondly of the former First Lady.
Her hugging of an HIV/AIDS patient at a time when her own mother wouldn't do it. Her standing by her man with a little rhyming poetry in the 1984 election. In 1,000 other ways, Barbara Pierce Bush was real, and that's why people admired her and loved her so.
A private burial was held at George H.W. Bush's library after the ceremony.
Kate Middleton gave birth to the newest member of the royal family. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge welcomed a baby boy Monday morning. This is their 3rd child. He'll be 5th in line to the throne. He weighed in at 8 pounds and 7 ounces. He was born at the same hospital as his father and 2 siblings. The palace says both Kate and her son are doing very well. He has 1 sister, Princess Charlotte, and 1 brother, Prince George.
North Korea's Kim Jong-un announced the suspension of the country's nuclear testing program. Kim says he no longer needs to test their weapons capabilities. He also agreed to stop the long-term ballistic missile rocket test. President Trump tweeted, quote, "This is very good news for North Korea and the world. Big progress." North Korea says Kim will now focus on economic growth. Kim and South Korean President Moon Jae-in will meet next week for the first inter-Korean summit in over a decade.
The Federal Aviation Administration gave an emergency directive to all U.S. airlines ordering them to inspect their planes' engines. This comes after a woman was killed when a fan blade broke off the engine of a Southwest Airlines jet. The FAA wants airlines to use ultrasound technology to inspect their engines. The Southwest engine suffered from metal fatigue, which created small cracks that can't be seen by the naked eye. Airlines have 20 days to perform the inspections. The engines are made by CFM International.
Still to come on Valley View News, a former NFL player faces backlash after he posted a photo holding a gun while sending his daughter off to prom with her date.
And our sports reporter, Andrea Serrano, will give us an update on the NBA and NHL playoffs. Stay with us.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. getting that college education. What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That would be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
I came to CSUN to learn. I came to CSUN to grow. I came to CSUN to prepare. I learned to ask, to analyze, to communicate. I grew as a writer, a thinker, a citizen. I left CSUN prepared to participate, prepared to contribute, prepared to lead.
Aloha, I'm Linda Lingle, and I'm a matador.
People rely on research to cure cancer, but experts say more people should do more research on their doctors and cancer treatments. It's a critical step that can save lives. Valley View News reporter Heather Ann Wagner has more.
Millions of people are diagnosed with cancer each year. 1 in 8 women end up in a doctor's office, diagnosed with breast cancer. Some women tend to react to the bad news and panic before doing their own research. Dr. Lisa Castle explains the importance of researching your cancer regime.
How do you choose a cancer doctor? And then how do you know that they're going to do a good job removing the cancer such that it can have an aesthetic outcome? And I think here's where even the most diligent woman will make a very common mistake.
Research is key. Plastic surgery can be confusing for some. Also, surgeries can often lead to scars and disfigurement. Hopefully, with proper research, multiple procedures can be avoided for some.
And it's very hard when a woman's diagnosed with cancer. What is going on? Your life is flashing in front of your eyes. You might have small children because it's most common, in your 40s, 50s. You might have it might be your first illness in your life.
Many cancer doctors have personal stories that connect them to their cancer careers. Dr. Kelly Colleen experienced the disease through a close relative.
Plastic surgeons are the surgeons that are called to fix problems that arise when cancers are being removed, or to fix problems that arise when patients go through some kind of significant trauma. And my grandmother had breast cancer when she was in her mid-40s, and she was a competitive swimmer. She swam every day of her life up to that point, and then back when she had cancer, there was no breast implants. There was no option really for reconstruction, and she had a radical mastectomy and no reconstruction.
When faced with a decision like a breast cancer surgery, it's always best to do your research and be informed. Heather Ann Wagner, Valley View News.
She's the little girl who stole America's heart before Game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs between Washington and Columbus. 6-year-old Keelan Moxley of Chesapeake Beach got passed over twice after a Capitals player tried to throw her a puck during warm-ups. But she lit up when she finally got one.
I was so excited that I got it.
You gonna keep that forever?
Yes. I just wanted to say thank you, but I couldn't because he was on the other side of the glass.
The Capitals owner personally called her and gave her free seats to Game 5.
Well, the NBA playoffs continue to push forward. I saw Game 4 between Boston and Milwaukee, and the Celtics had a lead, but the Bucks ended up catching up. Andrena, what's the plan for these two teams going forward?
It's Game 4, and Steph is still not back on the court. Sunday, the Warriors faced their first loss so far in the playoffs. The Spurs beat the Warriors 103-90. However, the victory is expected to be short-lived, as Game 5 will see a home court advantage for Golden State. While the Warriors lead the Spurs 3-1 in the series, the Eastern Conference is all tied up. The Cavaliers were hot at the net, outlasting the Pacers to tie up the series 2-2, despite the Pacers quite literally hanging on for dear life. With just over 10 seconds left on the clock, Lance Stevenson brought down Jeff Green with a headlock foul. Safe to say they weren't going down without a fight. Also holding their own, Bucks beat the Celtics 104-102, while the Wizards defeated the Raptors 106-98. Both brackets are tied 2-2 in the series. 6 down, just 10 more to go. The NHL playoffs are well underway, and the load just got lighter. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Colorado Avalanche won't be advancing past Game 6. Sunday, the Predators stayed true to their namesake, wrecking the Avs 5-0, while the Penguins defeated the Flyers 8-5. Among those starting summer break early are the Anaheim Ducks and the LA Kings. Wrestling champion Bruno Sammartino died at age 82. The Italian-born boxer was the heavyweight champion of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation through the 60s and the 70s. He held the title for 11 years, making him the longest reigning champion in the organization's history. Sammartino was laid to rest in his hometown of Pittsburgh. And there's penguins at the ballpark? The White Sox celebrated Earth Day by bringing Phil the Penguin to play ball. Phil is a local resident of Chicago's Shed Aquarium. I guess that's one way to celebrate Earth Day. That's it for sports. I'm Andrena Serrano.
Thank you, Andrena. Former NFL player Jay Feely apologized for posting a picture on Twitter showing him holding a gun next to his daughter and her prom date. Feely posted the picture with the caption, "Wishing my daughter and her date a great time at prom, #BadBoys." He got backlash because of the recent mass shootings. Feely later tweeted an apology. He said his daughter's boyfriend knew it was a joke. Feely also said that he takes gun safety very seriously. He didn't intend to be insensitive to such an important issue. Feely played 14 seasons in the NFL and is now a CBS analyst.
Coming up on Valley View News, a woman searching for Pikachu in Kentucky made an unexpected discovery. Why one Ohio family is thanking the Pokemon Go app.
Plus, there's been a massive lettuce recall, and you could have it in your fridge right now. The details next.
I came to CSUN to learn. I came to CSUN to grow. I came to CSUN to prepare. I learned to question, to answer, to encourage. I grew as a mentor, an ally, an advocate. I left CSUN prepared to uplift and embolden, prepared to challenge and inspire, prepared to teach.
I'm Rebecca Milwaukee, and I'm a Matador.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
You made her college years possible, opening that education savings account when she was little, spearheading campus tours, and deciphering financial aid. If you can ace planning for college, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Earlier in the semester, Valley View News reporter Shannon Osborne introduced us to an organization that provides free sanitary products to women. Now she has uncovered a new problem affecting young women on a budget and how they're managing to afford feminine hygiene.
The cost of feminine sanitary items is something that'll cause strain to any budget of college-aged women. CSUN freshman Carol Martinez wants decreased costs for hygiene care.
They should lower the prices and give, like, for example, college students, like, supplies for the feminine hygiene.
CSUN Associate Students Vice President and Assistant Chair of Finance both wish for easy, accessible hygiene items.
I would prefer if we had more for free, at least in universities and public spaces, so that anyone has accessibility to it, including housing insecure and homeless female population.
It just makes no sense for us to safely dispose and handle and take care of our bodies as necessary for us to have to pay so much money for such goods.
some college women struggle to afford these items.
It's just so funny that a lot of people are pro-lifers, but they don't want to give us access to take care of our bodies in order to maintain sexual reproductive health.
It's all thanks to a luxury tax that's imposed on feminine hygiene products. Director of CSUN's Women's Center, Shira Brown, says it shouldn't be taxed, but other non-essentials should.
We don't tax other items like condoms, which are not specifically necessities.
Experts say women shouldn't be worried about staying clean and staying healthy, especially in college. They say that with a push for affordable feminine hygiene, a bigger message can be sent to the government to relabel sanitary napkins as a need and not as a luxury, so the taxes aren't so high. I'm Shannon Osborne in Northridge for Valley View News.
A former music icon is making his way back into the spotlight. And last week, the music world lost a dance music icon. He was great, wasn't he?
He was an awesome producer.
You'll find out more. Tori, what do you have for us?
Fans gathered in Stockholm to pay tribute to electronic DJ Avicii after word of his death in Oman last week. There was a moment of silence before the crowd danced along to his songs. The cause of death hasn't been released. 2 autopsies were performed on the musician's body. Officials say there was no foul play involved. He struggled with multiple health conditions over the years. Authorities approved taking his body back to his hometown in Sweden. If you've ever tried to moonwalk, and most probably have, now you can do it like the King of Pop in his very own magic shoes. Michael Jackson's black loafers are up for auction. The star wore them while rehearsing for his performance of Billie Jean for the Motown 25 TV special in 1983. According to GWS Auction, this was the first time the King of Pop performed his famous backward sliding dance move. The catalog description says the shoes are in wonderful condition for their age, with evident signs of use to the soles. The shoes are expected to sell for at least $10,000. Westworld showrunner Jonathan Nolan has one word for scientists creating true artificial intelligence, and that word is stop. The hit sci-fi series premiered on HBO last weekend. In an interview with Esquire, Nolan and his partner Lisa Joy were asked what they would tell AI designers given all of their research. Joy had a bit more to add beyond Nolan's single-word warning. She said it's important to understand the technology you are creating, knowing the capacity for good and evil, and the effects it will have on humans, specifically isolating people from each other. However, some think the show creators have no place to talk about AI because they don't really understand the technology as show writers working in the entertainment industry. That's all your entertainment news. I'm Tori Isaac.
Many members of the LGBT community say they aren't well represented in the media. According to GLAAD, only about 6% of characters in primetime programming identified as LGBTQ in 2017. Valley View News contributor Natalia Vivino takes us to a queer theater class on campus that hopes to change that.
Cultural things that you might think we hold kind of sacred.
CSUN students are passionate about representation. LGBTQ stories are the backbone of a queer theater class that meets every Thursday. For transgendered students in particular, representation on both the stage and screen is vital.
I want to see more trans inclusivity, including trans women of color. And I want to see us playing cis roles.
Cis is short for cisgendered. It's a term used to describe someone who identifies as the sex they were assigned at birth. In mainstream material, A-list cisgendered actors still play trans characters.
You're not going to have any A-list trans actors if you don't give any trans people roles in general.
Your pride is connected to shame.
Professor Hillary Miller says her students have addressed the issue of representation in class before. For trans characters specifically, mainstream material has yet to dive deeper. She says she believes this will improve in time.
If we're just talking about the stories getting out there and the pieces getting out there, I do think that it's changing, yes.
The road to representation is long, but the performing arts community will persist until progress is made. In Northridge, I'm Natalia Vivino.
An 83-year-old with dementia who was missing has been found safe. Homer Howard was found 30 miles away from his hometown in Maineville, Ohio, and his family has Pokemon Go to thank. Allison Hines was playing on the popular app at Kenny Shields Park in Kentucky when she noticed an elderly man alone. After realizing the man was nowhere near his home, she contacted authorities. She says that everyone should be mindful of those around them.
Look for things that just don't look right because somebody just might need some help.
Howard has since been reunited with his family.
You might want to be careful the next time you think about having a salad.
And a new way of losing weight that will raise some eyebrows. Here's our social media and tech reporter, Lauren Turner-Dunn, with more.
Thanks, Cameron. The CDC is recalling romaine lettuce connected to an E. coli outbreak. It covers all romaine grown in the Yuma, Arizona area. A recent warning said the lettuce caused 8 new cases of acute gastroenteritis in Alaska. Previously, a warning was issued just for chopped romaine lettuce. That warning came after 53 people got sick in 16 states. Now the CDC says people should throw away their romaine lettuce if they don't know where it was grown. They should also avoid eating romaine in restaurants. So far, the CDC hasn't identified the exact supplier of the bad romaine lettuce. A Utah man lost 100 pounds, but he didn't lose the weight by eating salads. David Anderson went on the keto diet after seeing his friend's Facebook post on the high-fat, low-carb diet. Anderson now eats meals with about 50 to 60 grams of fat.
I fill up quick, and I'm full for many, many hours.
Anderson's wife says he gained weight after a stressful time. The couple had twins, sold their home, and he lost his father. He weighed 360 pounds when he started the diet in August 2016. Dietitians say it's not good to be on the keto diet for too long. Scientists recently discovered a bacteria enzyme that will break down plastic. The enzyme is called PET-ACE. It breaks down PET, which is found in practically all plastics, including bottles and even clothes. Biology professor John McGeehan says the enzyme works fast, but not fast enough on an industrial level.
Bacteria can break this down in a matter of days or weeks, but what we're hoping to do with the enzyme is just in the same way you use an enzyme in a biological washing detergent, breaking down grass stains. These enzymes, we hope, can break down PET, ideally in a matter of hours. That's our goal.
Scientists say the bacteria could create a more environmentally friendly way of recycling. Right now, it can take years for plastic to decompose in the environment. That's why there's a huge plastic pollution problem in the oceans and higher death rates for ocean animals. Professor McGeehan says scientists were the ones who made plastic. Now they have to use technology to find solutions for the problems they caused. Lyft is telling its riders they support the fight against climate change with every ride. Last week on Earth Day, the company launched an initiative making rides carbon neutral. Lyft's multi-million-dollar investment will decrease carbon emissions for all of their cars. They're also looking into manufacturing some environmentally friendly cars. Ride-sharing companies are already putting more cars on the road, so the need for cleaner cars is important. With this initiative, Lyft hopes to reduce the number of high-emission cars used by Lyft drivers. Lyft was one of the businesses opposed to President Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. That's all I have for social media, health, and tech. I'm Lauren Turner-Dunn. Back to you.
Thank you, Lauren, for that report. An elementary school assembly in Long Beach turned into a heartwarming reunion. As Student of the Month honors were being handed out, teacher Regina Benzing didn't realize an honor was headed her way. She thought her son, who's a U.S. Air Force specialist, was still stationed almost 4,000 miles away.
I'm surprising her, coming home from Germany.
Eric Benzing? No.
Mother and son reunited after 8 months apart. Their immediate plans are catching up and having dinner together. He's home for another 3 weeks before having to go back.
That's all for us at Valley View News. Thank you for watching. I'm Corinne Hafuda.
And I'm Cameron Parrish. For news any time of day, go to our website, sundial.csun.edu. We'll see you next week.